What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into my college football playoff rankings reaction. It's that time of the year we finally have our first ever college football playoff rankings. We get to dive into them. We kind of get to see what the committee is thinking. And this is now the home stretch to the end where each week I'm going to be doing this. So they'll come out with the rankings. Today, Wednesday, I will come out with my thoughts and reactions for the rankings each and every week. So make sure to hit that bell so you're notified each Wednesday when it comes out. But before I get into everything, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluedpodcast. That's where you can go ahead and support the channel so that I and Sean and Dave, all of us, can keep doing what we love doing for you guys each and every week. But let's get into this. So the college football rankings play out like this. I'm going to try to put up the graphic from ESPN. At number 1, we've got the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're 8-0. Then at number 2, the LSU Tigers. Number 3, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Coming in at 4, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Then Clemson at 5, and the Georgia Bulldogs at 6. So looking at it right away, that's the top 6. Some people left out of the top 6. Oregon at 7, Utah at 8, Oklahoma at 9, and then Florida and Auburn round out at 10 and 11. My first thoughts, and I'm mainly going to focus on the top 6. My first thought, and I don't know how this happened because, first off, we know that this college football playoff that they presented us today is not going to be the one that we see. Depends on what happens this Saturday as LSU and Alabama. Now instead of a 1-2 matchup, it's a 2-3 matchup, although it'd be a 1-2 matchup if we go on the AP top 25 poll. But now it's a 2-3 matchup because of the college football playoff. We know someone's got to lose there, and we know that 1 and 4, Ohio State and Penn State, are going to play each other at some point this season. Penn State has a big game. Minnesota now can be kind of upset favorites or upset people in the college football playoff if they beat Penn State this weekend, but I don't see a chance of that. There's a chance, but I don't see it happening. My first thought is, why isn't LSU the number 1 team in the nation? Because, I understand if you want to put Alabama at 3, because when you look at who they've played, looking at their schedule, the toughest opponents that they have played are number 24, Texas A&M. That's it. They haven't played a tough schedule. So, I understand Alabama at 3. I think Alabama knows they win this weekend. That's going to be a big win. They know they've got Auburn coming up. Alabama and Alabama fans know if they take care of business and they win out, they're going to be in the playoffs. So they're not fretting over this ranking too much. To me, I saw Ohio State above LSU, and my first thought, and I'm a Big Ten guy, my first thought was, excuse me? Excuse me? Because there's 2 things that are kind of going through my head for why I feel like this ranking happened. Number 1, why I don't agree with it. I'll go with the why I don't agree with it and then why I think this ranking happened. Why I disagree with this is who has Ohio State beaten compared to LSU. You look at LSU, their toughest opponents this year, they beat a number 5 Texas team in Austin. They beat a Florida team, and they beat an Auburn team. 3 tough opponents. I know 2 of those were in Death Valley, but one of those, they had to go to Austin to play that game, and they beat the Texas Longhorns. Then you look at the Ohio State Buckeyes, and for me, their key wins are way under the LSU Tigers. Because if you look at them, Michigan State has not been the Michigan State that we're used to in the past. You look at Wisconsin, Wisconsin's a team that lost to Illinois, people. Lost to Illinois. And I know what you can say. Well, Ricky, if you're going to say that, then you got to downgrade Texas because Texas almost lost to Kansas and they haven't been bad. Texas beat Kansas. Wisconsin lost to Illinois, and that's coming from an Illinois fan. I'm sorry. If you beat a team that lost to Illinois, that team must not be really that good. And that team loses all credibility. It's like, oh, that win's not that good because the team lost to Illinois. Like, come on. If they lost to Illinois, Ohio State should have easily blown them out. Like, it's a foregone conclusion. The reason why I think that they put Ohio State above LSU is because look at Ohio State at this point. 45-21, 42-0, 51-10, 76-5, 34-10, 48-7, 52-3, 38-7. This team is blowing out opponents. They have not had one close game. Like, their closest game was what? 45-21, and that was week 1. I feel like that's why Ohio State is number 1. It's not about who they've beaten, it's how they have beaten their team. So, I mean, I look at it and I go, with me personally, I know the committee and I have never been on the same page, but I feel like the college football playoff should be LSU at number 1 because they've played the opponents, they've beaten the opponents. Number 2, there is where you could put Ohio State because you could make the argument that, yes, they played like Wisconsin's a good team, although they lost to Illinois, but they've been blowing everyone out. So, okay, put Ohio State at 2. Then you've got Alabama at 3. I'm fine. I'm actually perfectly fine with that one. Penn State's another interesting one because then we come into the debate, if I could speak English here, the debate of number 4. Penn State kind of shocked me a little bit. And the reason being, who have you played? Their toughest opponents have been Iowa, at Iowa. So, I mean, I guess that might have played into it. They went on the road and they beat Iowa at Iowa City. And then Michigan, who both of those teams have not been what we are used to seeing from those teams. I got to pull up the schedules really quick. Iowa this year has lost yet. So Iowa's lost to Michigan and Penn State, so they kind of beat each other up. Michigan lost to Wisconsin and then lost to Penn State. So I could look at it and say I kind of understand where they were coming from there in that point of Iowa, Michigan, their quality opponents. Penn State went in and beat them, with the Iowa being a big one, with that one being on the road. To me, this is a really, really, really big indicator of how the committee is going to look at Clemson, because you look at Clemson and look at their scores. 52-14, 24-10, all right, closer game. 41-6 blowout, 52-10 blowout, but then 21-20. 21-20, and then the last 3 have been blowouts. Yeah, 45-14 blowout, 45-10 blowout, 59-7 blowout, 59-14. So I'm going to redact that point live on the video. I don't think it has to do then with them blowing out opponents, because the only close game was that 21-20 game against Mac Brown's Tar Heels. It's got to be because they haven't played anybody, right? Like, the only ranked team they have on the schedule was number 12 at the time, Texas A&M, who's not even that good. Or, like, they don't have as many wins as we thought. Of course, they lost their running back for the entire season early in the year. But these rankings are, I'm looking at that Clemson, because the top 4 of these playoff rankings, they're going to play each other. They're going to get settled. One of Ohio State and Penn State, whoever wins that game, is going to stay in the rankings. The other one's going to fall out. And really, LSU, Alabama, you could say the same thing, but they're out of the 2, the Big Ten and SEC battles. I feel like LSU, Alabama has a better chance of the loser staying in the playoff hunt compared to the loser of the other side. So, like, if Alabama loses, I could see them being in the playoff hunt before I could see, let's say, Penn State or Ohio State loses, either one of those teams being in the playoff hunt with one loss. Georgia being there is also another interesting one because it kind of goes into hand of, in that case, why did you put them above Oregon? Because both of them have one loss. The loss was for Georgia to a South Carolina team. Now, maybe the win against Florida kind of bumped that up because Florida was a top 10 team at that point. Plus, you got Georgia also beating Notre Dame, so that probably played into it. Where Oregon, though, they lose to Auburn, who maybe the loss against LSU kind of hurt the Ducks in that case because Auburn took kind of then a hit in the rankings why they're at number 11. And then, I mean, but you look at the last few, like USC, not a ranked team. Washington State, not a ranked team. The last ranked team they beat was, or Washington State, not a ranked team. Washington was the last ranked game that the Ducks won. So that's another interesting point. But yeah, my key takeaways from this, LSU should be number one. The top four are going to play each other out. So there's no big deal to harp on who's going to be where and who got left out because the top four will settle out. Two of the four will fall out. The big thing I want to focus on going forward is Clemson. Will one of the one-loss teams jump the Clemson Tigers? That's what I can't wait to see in these rankings. Will a team jump the Clemson Tigers? Because it's interesting that they left them out at number 5. But let me know what you guys think down below. What are your thoughts on the college football rankings? Who should be in? Who should be out? What do you think of the top 4 of Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, and Penn State? Make sure yet again to check out patreon.com/mostvaluable podcast to support the channel so that we can keep doing what we love and giving you these videos and podcasts each and every week. I'll be back next week when the committee comes out with the rankings. Yet again, a good week, good week of college football coming up. I'll see you guys next week. Let me know what you think down below. But as always, have a good day, everybody.